Hello lovelies and welcome back to my channel. Today we are doing a tag, and I think the only other tag that I've done is 25 bookish facts about me, and I don't even know that that's a tag. So we're in new territory here, but I believe that Adam from Memento Mori tagged me, or at least comment tagged me in the anything but books tag. So that's what we're going to do here today. I hope that everyone is well and happy and enjoying life and books and all of these things. I always want to know what you've been reading, what you've been up to. I think we're all a bit nosy around here, so indulge me and indulge yourselves and make some friends down in the comments. And without further ado, let's start this tag. I'm hoping that it's a way, apparently with a do, I'm hoping that this is a way that you guys can get to know me a little bit more and who I am outside of the books. A chatty update that I did a couple of videos ago about what's going on in life got some really nice interaction, and people seem to like to know what was up in my life, so maybe I'll do more of those if you guys are interested. But in the meantime, I thought that I would answer these questions and maybe you can find out a little bit more about me. So what's question one? I've got them on my phone here, so if I keep looking down, that's why. The first question is, name a cartoon that you love, which is a really random first question, but let's go with it. I don't really watch a lot of cartoons, which is weird because, as you'll see in a review that I do soon, one of the books that I've loved the most recently is called The Animators by Kayla Ray Whitaker, which has some really intense descriptions of animation and cartoons, so you'd think that I was that kind of person. But I'm not really, so I kind of struggled to think of an answer for this one, but I think I'm going to have to go with Tintin, and that's only because I mentioned Calvin and Hobbes in this video, otherwise I would be going on about Calvin and Hobbes for another 60 years. But Tintin is one of my very favourite cartoons, both in book form and film form, and I've grown up with Tintin. He was a big part of my life, some of the first graphic novels in French that I read, along with Asterix, and I just think he's awesome, and I think his dog is awesome, and I think the adventures that he goes on are awesome, and yeah, I just really love the art. And I love that when you go to actual Belgium, there's so much Tintin paraphernalia. That just makes me really happy that it's such a cultural monument in Belgium. I really like that a cartoon has made such a lasting impact on an actual nation. So yeah, I have to go with Tintin. Question two, what is your favourite song right now? One important thing about me is that I'm completely incapable of picking favourites. Favourite anything. Favourite books of the year, favourite books of all time, favourite songs, favourite films. I cannot do it because it entirely depends what mood I'm in and what is going on in life. So I'm probably going to have to pick a variety of things that I've been enjoying recently music-wise. So let's go with Liability by Lorde, which is a great song. It makes me feel like I've got flowers growing in my chest and they all need to explode out of me in one go. And I think that I'm really going to love Lorde's new album, which I think is coming out like song by song at the moment. She's really awesome and her music is really awesome, and Liability in particular, which is a tiny melancholy tune, really spoke to me, as well as obviously the entirety of Paramore's new album, which I've been waiting for a really long time. If you know me in real life, you'll know that Hayley Williams is my great love, and so I was very much looking forward to this album, and although it's had some mixed reception, I've been really enjoying it. It's been on repeat on my Amazon Echo recently, and I think that Paramore have grown with us. I am loving the super intensely depressing melancholy lyrics mixed with the super 80s vibe, like Blondie-esque pop tunes. I think that's really great, and there are just some real bangers on that album. And I think that Hayley Williams is really awesome. So yeah, I've been enjoying that. And then loads of classical music, but I always enjoy that, so it's not really like a favourite song right now, it's just a favourite song forever. Why do I always bang my tooth on the glass? Is it just because I have shitty spatial awareness? Like, is that it? That's a factoid about me. I have shitty spatial awareness. It doesn't pertain to any of these questions, but I thought you might want to know. Number 3, what could you do for hours that isn't reading? Well, before I started making content on YouTube, I was an avid YouTube consumer, is that the word? And so I guess my answer to this question would have to be watching YouTube content, and it's not just BookTube, it's a whole bunch of different YouTube content. And I do have kind of like daily rituals of who I watch, and I think YouTube is a really exciting space. I think even with everything that's going on with like ad revenue and the overall space kind of changing with the advent of YouTube Red and all that stuff, it still feels kind of like home for me, and it did even before I was a creator. And I just think that a lot of really amazing, exciting, groundbreaking things are happening here, and I really just want to be a part of that, both as a creator and a consumer. So I thought I would take a minute to recommend some of my people that I enjoy watching, and like I said, they're not all booktubers, but some of you might enjoy watching other corners of YouTube as well, so why not? I am going to start with a booktuber though, who's a relatively new favourite. I think we both subscribed to each other about a month ago, and he is just wonderful, and we've been chatting on Twitter, and everything he recommends goes straight onto my TBR, which is super bad for my wallet, but a complete joy to watch, and that is Russell from Ink and Paper. You can find him on his blog, which I will put in the description below, and of course his channel, which is just really fun, and he is a really great guy with a really great cat and some really great tattoos and good taste in books. So yeah, I will leave all his info in the description below. The second channel I want to recommend, and it might be a bit more niche, but they're daily vloggers, which I've been watching every single day without fail for about a year now, I guess. And they are over at The Fry Life, and they're a married couple named Mary and Peter. And Mary suffers from cystic fibrosis, which is a genetic condition which causes the mucus in her lungs to stay there instead of leaving her body like it would in someone with a regular system. And they kind of just chronicle their lives as a married couple, and also with Mary living with chronic illness, which is relevant to me obviously because I'm disabled, and all of that stuff feels kind of close to home. But also they're just really nice to hang out with for 15 minutes a day, and they're a really lovely couple, and they've also got a cute animal. He's a service dog named Oliver, and it's just funny. I don't know if any of you watch daily vloggers, but it's funny how they quickly become a part of your routine and a part of your family. And yeah, so I really recommend that you watch that if you do have an interest in that type of stuff, and even if you don't, maybe you can go over and say hello anyway. Question 4 is, what is something you love to do that your followers would be surprised by? Now, in answering this question, I realised that even though I've not made a lot of personal videos, I don't think there's much that you guys would be really surprised about. I'm a bit of an open book, and I go off topic very easily, so that means that I do talk about stuff that isn't books fairly often on this channel. But I think I would say that I really, really love to eat food, and people often seem to be surprised by this, and I find that inappropriate for a lot of reasons. I don't know if you guys particularly would be surprised by that, but I've had a lot of comments from people in real life when they see how much I eat and how passionate I am about food, and how exciting I think food is, and how much of an art form it can be, really, even at its most simple. People have made comments about that and how they didn't expect it from me. Take from that what you will, because we could get into a really long discussion about why that's inappropriate and why that can be dangerous, and why we shouldn't really talk about food choices and what other people choose to eat. But that's not the video for this. In the meantime, I will just tell you that I love to eat and I love food, and I have like a bit of a food bucket list and things that I want to do relating to food. For example, my most recent project is to discover some new cool ice cream places in Los Angeles. Los Angeles is pretty hot year round, so it's got some cool ice cream stuff to offer. Cool, oh my god, I hate myself. That is literally a pun that grandma would make, and I didn't even do it on purpose. But these are some of the places that I've tried so far, and yeah, I love, like recently I went to a night with my husband where basically we're just going to eat from various different food trucks, even though it was like an art walk thing. So there were loads of different stores that were taking part, like not just food, but we basically went there to eat and we ate some really amazing stuff. And I also got this beautiful vintage skirt, so I will show that off somehow. But yeah, so food brings me a lot of pleasure and it just makes me really happy, and it brings me back to my French roots, I guess. I don't know that I could have gone through life without loving food, considering the family that I came from. So that is the thing that might be a little bit surprising. Question 5, which is really weird. This tag is really weird. Like, I didn't really look at it much before I decided to do it, and it's just really weird. But you know what? Whatever. Question 5 is, what is your favorite unnecessarily specific thing to learn about? There are many. I have some weird obsessions. Like, I've watched many court cases on YouTube, like entire court cases, like 24 hours worth of court cases, because I'm really interested in the legal system and I'm really interested in criminal prosecution. And yeah, so that's a bit weird, but that's not the thing that I chose in my answer to the question. And that thing that I've chosen is Munchausen's by proxy and Munchausen's by internet, which is really weird until I tell you that I have been hoodwinked by someone on the internet who was pretending to be sick. And since then, I kind of realized that this was more of a common thing that I had imagined. It's by no means common, but it's much more common than I thought. I literally thought it was this one woman being a little bit weird, but apparently not. And since then I have done a lot of research into Munchausen's by proxy and Munchausen's by internet, and specifically Munchausen's by internet, because I find it so interesting how an illness that has existed for a very long time has kind of developed with the times, and the ways in which the internet has changed the presentation and prognosis even of that illness. So yeah, maybe I'll tell you that story one day about how I was hoodwinked by that gal. But there is a hidden video somewhere on this channel from like 2012 that I put on Tumblr to explain to all my friends what I was going through when that happened. So I doubt I will unprivate it, but I might tell you that story if you are interested. I recently saw a documentary about Munchausen's by proxy called Mommy, Dead and Dearest, which was terrifying, but also amazing and really well made and touching and terrifying. I know I've said it before, but it really, truly was terrifying. But yeah, that's my word obsession. Question 6, what is something unusual that you know how to do? I really struggled with this one because I don't feel like many of my talents are particularly unusual, but I am going to have to go with my memory. A lot of people say that I have kind of a standout memory. I tend to remember really specific things, and I'm really good at placing stuff in temporal space, which is incredibly useful when you're doing things like filing immigration paperwork, for example. And then I'm really good at remembering people's names, and I think I have quite a photographic memory. I don't know, I think my memory is different depending on like the period of my life and what it is that I'm remembering, but I do think I have quite a photographic memory. I remember I used to remember the notes for my master's degree, like according to where they were placed on the page. So yeah, a lot of people tell me that I have a really like elephantine memory. In fact, some people used to call me Elephant when I was younger, and that's not because I was huge, because that would have been mean, but mostly referring to my memory, which I thought was particularly complimentary actually. I like that my memory is good. Name something you made in the last year and show us if you can. I guess the thing that I'm most proud of, bar some of these videos actually, which hopefully you've already seen, but I think the thing that I'm most proud of that I have made recently is I produced and modelled in a photo shoot recently, and it's kind of a disability rights activist photo shoot, and with it I aimed to show the disabled female body as powerful and capable and important and worthy of other people's eyes in like a non-objectifying way. And the reason for the circus theme is that I kind of wanted to turn the idea of horror and freak show associated with circuses on its head and focus on the power and showmanship and performance associated with circuses instead. Part of the aim was also to show the disabled body without shying away from the actual disability and any mobility aids that might be used, obviously particularly relevant to me being the model because I use crutches. One of the things that I noticed in fashion and portrayal of the disabled body is that it's usually portrayed either as athletic in the sense of like inspiration porn of like, if this person can be a Paralympic athlete, why can't you? Or they tended to be really, really amateur photo shoots of just like someone with a camera trying their best. And that is admirable, but I was lucky enough to have amazing people to work with and really great resources. So I was hoping to elevate that to kind of more of a high fashion angle and normalize the presentation of the disabled body and specifically the disabled female body to be something that you could kind of look at in a different way than you might have normally. The photo shoot took place in March and the photos have now gone off to the retoucher, so that means I can't show you the finalized images because I'm hoping to get them published somewhere alongside some of my writing. So that's what I've been working on. Question 9 is, tell us something that you think about often. Other than like crazy feelings of impending doom with no particular source that is caused by living with generalized anxiety, I think a lot about reading in my head and taking away my own voice when I'm reading in my head. So I read this crazy article a few weeks ago about a method that you can use to prevent your brain from using your own voice inside your head when you read, which is supposed to make you be able to read a whole bunch faster because you kind of circumvent the like talking in your head thing. So I think that's crazy and I can't imagine reading in my head without hearing my own voice. So I really want to learn to do that, and every time I read in my head now I think about being able to do that and how. So if anyone has mastered the art of reading in your head without hearing your own voice but still taking in what you're reading, please tell me below because I feel like that would be so useful and I feel like I would feel like a superhero. Number 10, give us something that's your favourite. And I have to go with something that I have absolutely been loving for the past month and a bit, and that is The Handmaid's Tale, the TV version, which I believe has just come to Channel 4 in the UK. I think you guys are on episode 2. I've now seen 6 episodes and I think it's the best show I've ever seen on television. The best show. I said Jane the Virgin was the funniest show, but this is the best show, and I hate everything about it in a certain way. Like, it makes me profoundly uncomfortable, just like the book did, and just like most things Margaret Atwood, to be honest. But it is so well made, so beautifully shot, so ridiculously relevant, like terrifyingly relevant. I don't want it to be relevant, but it really, really is. They've just done the right amount of modernizing. It's beautifully acted. Elizabeth Moss is a master at what she does, and even the men, who are completely horrifying, are just amazing. I just think, like, I'd have been proud to make that show. It's a really hard watch and I don't recommend it for anyone who might be suffering with any kind of like PTSD type issues. But if you read and enjoyed the book, I would wholeheartedly recommend it. It is important, essential viewing. And I think sitting in that discomfort, which is something that Atwood does really well and which has transferred really well to the TV show, is particularly important at the moment because we're sitting in real life discomfort, and being able to put words to that through fiction, I think, is helpful. Let's hope things don't end up quite so extreme. But man, this video might be weird to look back on eventually, but fingers crossed. I feel weird saying that I like it because on the one hand I really don't, but I do. So some uncertainty there, but it's certainly a favourite. And that brings us to the end of that tag. That was really weird and really random and possibly really boring. Hopefully it wasn't, and you found some enjoyment in this, if only to find out how truly, truly strange I actually am. But I hope that everyone has a really good week. Okay, I'm going to say a thing on camera, which basically means that I have to commit. But I am really, really hoping... Oh, I missed the name your personal project question. Oh well, whatevs. Anyway, I'm going to say a thing on camera now, which will force me to commit, I think. And that is that I have now decided that, barring any ridiculous happenings, I am going to try to put one video a week up on this channel. Now, for those of you who put up like 2 or 3 videos a week, this probably sounds like nothing, but the workflow on these videos is really long and the videos themselves are really long, so I don't think I would force anyone to put up with more than like 20 minutes of me at one time. So that's probably all I can manage at this time, but one video a week is our commitment, right, my love? We can do it. He's like making a lot of faces behind the camera, but I think we can do it. And yeah, so I missed the name your personal project question, but I guess that's my personal project, to get one video a week up. I'm gonna try it for 2 months, see how much it kills me, and maybe I'll just go back to putting up videos whenever the fuck I want. Who knows? But for now, that's what we're trying. So hopefully you guys will stick around with me for this like newfound journey of productivity, and maybe like steer a few of your friends in the direction of this channel too. I always love to see new people. And yeah, fingers crossed. Every time I get my one video a week goal, we can have like a little mini party with alcohol. I mean, like, we always have alcohol on this channel anyway. How should we party? Let me know. With that, I am gonna go and have some dinner. I'm having some like noodles with peanut sauce today, and I'm so unreasonably excited. And it's really, really hot under these lights. It's like 90 degrees outside, and these lights are really hot. So I'm gonna go and not be hot anymore. I would love to see you take the mickey out of me below for all my weird factoids that I gave you, and I will see you in my next video. Bye! You know, you can just kill it though. Like, it doesn't have to be this torturous.